totalitarian state, and I think we're still getting a lot closer, especially with the NDAA and things that they're passing, like Section 1021 in the NDAA, where that gives the president the ability to declare somebody a terrorist threat and have the military take them off the street and incarcerate them. Well, I draw the analogy directly to Special Order 48 issued by the Nazis in 1933 that said exactly the same thing. You can go on the web, query it, and you can see it says exactly the same thing. And that's how they got rid of all of their enemies. And you can see what the IRS is doing with the Tea Party and various other organizations in terms of political, stalling their political activism or subverting it. So this government is really creating that kind of atmosphere on top of that, where internally they're threatening everybody that works for them in one form or another. They try to abuse that with us, and internally in NSA they broadcast some of the things that they said about us, and some of the, like the 60 Minutes program that was done in May of 2011 on us. That was also broadcast internally in the NSA network to say, see, this is what happens to people who complain about us. And so now, and then they talked with Tom Drake. They fabricated evidence, was framing him. This was an outright frame. This was criminal. By the Department of Justice, they framed him and took him to trial. So, and they used that in turn to intimidate everybody that works for the government. So that kind of atmosphere is coming back and silencing everyone. And so the reporters now are having difficulty getting sources to talk to them. All of these things are happening because our government is becoming this totalitarian state. And this is what we experienced early on, and it's only gotten worse. I mean, the surveillance activity that's on now is so oppressive. I mean, it's almost in everything that you do. If you do anything electronically, they're in it, and they're watching you. Now, fortunately, they can't figure that out yet on a large scale. But they can, because they're still manually left, they have to manually look at this data. I know these people personally, so they're not going to get there. So, for a number of decades anyway. But the point is, they're setting the stage for this to continue, and to the point where everybody could be monitored almost constantly throughout the day. That is an oppressive, suppressive state. That's like the Stasi on super steroids. So these are the kinds of things we experienced in our attempts to blow the whistle. And as far as I'm concerned,